What's up? So today marks 1 week with Mustang Indie, and she has moved over to the barn, and she's a lot more domestic than she was a week ago. She's come pretty far. Being caught in her stall, she's still a little hesitant, but she's a lot better, and I'm teaching her to turn her nose into the halter versus me reaching over and putting it on. I'm kind of giving her a chance to give her attention to me before I halter her and get to work. Indy is definitely a lot more comfortable with people. She still has her moments where she gets a little nervous and she's not fully trusting of me yet. While she does look to me for guidance, I can still tell that there's still something holding her back from completely trusting me. But we're definitely building that relationship up. A week really isn't that long, and she's done so much this past week, it's amazing. And she's come really far. Well, of course, there are our little baubles that we have to work on, but I'm really happy with how far she's come this past week. Before I picked her up, I was hoping that I would be able to film the entire training process, but with my schedule and I don't really have anyone around that can do that, and with the tripod it's still a little difficult. I just can't film everything that goes into the training. So I thought about it for a while and I decided that we're just going to do weekly updates. Week 1 we'll put an update video out, show where she's at. Week 2 we'll do the same thing, and we'll just kind of do that throughout the 100 days of training. And so you guys unfortunately won't be able to see everything that goes into it, how we build these horses to where they are after 100 days of training. You can at least see the progress, and on week 2 you'll see how different it is from week 1, and I don't know, this is how we're going to have to do it. It's unfortunately not what I wanted to do, but it's still keeping you guys in the loop more than I have been, just because my schedule just never works out when I start these Mustangs, and I never get to do much filming and updating you guys. So we're gonna give it a go this time, and we're gonna make it happen. And I want to keep you guys in the loop with Mustang Indie.
Walk. Step. Good. Ooh. Good.
So right off the bat, I'm giving Indy a chance to move off of my physical and verbal cue before I apply any pressure. She was confused at first, but after a little bit she caught on, and that was really good. And for the next few minutes, we're just going to work on that forward movement, getting sent out and staying in that forward motion, and differentiating between walk and trot off of verbal cues. So right here, I disengage her hindquarters, and I ask her to back up a few steps before I ask her to switch directions. And that's just because I don't want her to get in the habit of coming into my space after I disengage her haunches and stop that lunge circle.
Good. Oh. Good girl. Trot. 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 Good. Trot. Walk. 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 Good. Walk. Good. Trot. Trot. Good. Good.
So now I'm introducing a new way of changing directions, and she gets pretty confused at first, but yet again she picks it up pretty quickly. And I'm just bringing that whip in front of her face and crossing over, and I'm asking her to use that whip as a wall. So when that whip is in front of her face, I want her to cut and change directions before she reaches it, and I just want her to move off of that whip. So it's going to take a little bit for her to pick it up completely and get it consistent, but yet again this is something that she picked up really quickly. Even if there's still some confusion at first, she just knows right away to stop and just think about it, which I really love.
Good. Trot. There you go, good girl. Good. Out, out, out. Out, out, out. Out, out, out. 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 There you go. Trot. Good. 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 Good girl. Good. Very good. Oh, not that.
So when she gets stuck and she doesn't really know what to do and she's just looking for an answer that's not the right one, I'm just going to stick to what I'm doing and keep asking her for that forward movement, and eventually she gets it. It's just going to have to take a little bit on my part. I just have to stick with what I'm doing and just show her the answer, and eventually she'll get it.
Good girl. Good. Good.
Now when I want to stop and draw the horses in, I use a verbal cue, and that's a kissing noise. And she's picked that up pretty quickly. She's just still learning the actual walking to me part. So right here I'm asking her to back up through the straight line chute. And how I'm asking her to back up, I'm trying not to put any halter pressure on her. I want her to back out of my space with just my body language. And if I have to correct her, just do like a slight bit of pressure on her halter, I will, just to kind of show her the answer. But I'm really just looking for her to back out of my space with my body language, a verbal cue, and maybe the whip waving in the air just a little bit. And she still needs some guidance with it, but she's picked it up pretty quickly. And eventually we'll start looking for more forward movement in the backup, of course. Just more speed and not being so sluggish with it, but she's still learning and she's doing pretty good with it. After 2 or 3 sessions working on the side pass, Indy's at the point where I want to wean her off of using the whip. I teach the side pass with the dressage whip, but now I'm trying to get her to go off of my body language and that hand motion. And she's picking that up pretty quickly, and every once in a while she'll need a correction with the whip. I don't even want to call it a correction, it's just me showing her the answer. But I give her an opportunity to respond off of the hand motion, and she does really good with it. Yet again, she's picked this up really quickly. She's a super smart mare. She has her moments where she's pretty sensitive, but that's also a good thing. As far as training goes, she just, I don't know, she's a pretty cool horse. Right here, I'm just doing a few quick exercises, getting her to lower her head to pull pressure and pressure underneath her halter or under her chin. She's still learning this, and it's taken her a little bit, but she's doing pretty good. And you can't necessarily see the releases with that as much because I'm just keeping my hand where it was, just taking the pressure off. And I'm flexing her head to the left and flexing her to the right. And this, she learned the first or second day with her. And it took her a little bit. She struggled with it for a while, but now, after doing that every day for the past week, she's pretty soft in the halter and flexes nicely. And here, I'm just checking in with her ground tying. I like my horses to stand still while I walk around them. I don't want them turning to face me or trying to walk after me, or of course not running or walking off. I just want her to stand still while I move around her. And she does pretty good with that. It took her a little bit to pick that one up, but she's got it now and she's pretty good. Now disengaging her haunches, I'm looking for that back leg to cross over the other leg. Of course she's doing it and I'm not releasing right away just because at this point she knows it pretty well. So I'm looking for more consistency with it. I want her to keep crossing it over more than 1 or 2 steps. And that's why you're not going to see me release right away, just because she already knows this exercise, and I'm just looking to improve it at this point. Now she's at the point with pivoting or moving her shoulder over where I don't want to have to apply any pressure to her shoulder. I want her to move that shoulder over off of my body language and verbal cue. And she still needs a little bit of guidance. I have to be pretty close by to her, but she's picked it up very nicely. I really like where she's at with that so far. I mean, it's only been a week and she just learned that on the 3rd day, I believe. So she's doing pretty good. So once she finished her pivot, she kept moving off, so I'm using that side pass towards me as a correction, just to bring her back and show her that once, we stop, you stop. You don't have to keep moving. And yet again, I'm just lowering her head a little bit more. As far as her obstacle work goes, I'm teaching her to be sent over and through obstacles. I'm looking for consistency with her steps, that she's not stopping. I just want her to keep on moving forward through them. Now with the teeter-totter, I feel a little bit different. I want that teeter-totter to go down, and I want her to pause. I don't want her to go rushing off of it. So that's a lot different than the bridge. The bridge, I want her to keep going and flowing through it. The teeter-totter, I want her to have that pause. Now I'm starting to introduce rocking back and forth on the teeter-totter, and it's taking her a little bit to pick this up. Makes her a bit nervous, but I'm just guiding her through it and giving her a chance. And we're just going to keep adding a verbal cue to go back and forth.
Good. Good. Back. 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 Nope, back. Good. Down. Good. Step up. Whoa. Wait. Whoa.
So I'm trying to teach her to step 2 front feet onto the pedestal and then wait. I don't want her to get ahead of herself. I want her to wait until I draw her up to bring her back feet on. And so she's slowly picking that up.
Good. Whoa. Good.
And once she's on the pedestal, I want her to ground tie on it and let me walk all around her and just be patient, waiting until I ask her to back off of it. And in the beginning, this confused her a lot. She just wanted to move around when she was up there, but she's doing really good now, and she backs off of it pretty nicely. She's still getting comfortable with that part, but she's still doing really good.